Well, this is Dan Vlamis. I'm with Vlamis Software Solutions. I am joined by Arthur Dayton, senior consultant in Vlamis Software Solutions.
Hello, everybody.
And we're going to be talking about the new features in Data Visualization Desktop 12.2.2 and Oracle BI 12.2.1.2. So we're going to stack this in the presentation. You'll see the information on the screen with contact information. We'd love to talk to you more. We're also joined by some friends from Oracle Product Management. So if you have questions about the features, we'd love to have you either use the question panel or chat them to us. And we'll try and address that in this webcast. A little bit about where we come from, just so you understand our background. We're Vlamis Software Solutions, founded over 20 years ago. We work with Oracle BI and analytics systems for quite some time, during that whole history of 20 years. We specialize in all sorts of business analytics related areas. We've got multiple ACEs on staff, and lots of information on our website, including a blog, papers, newsletters, and so forth. We authored the book on data visualization for Oracle BI, and we're co-authors of a book on Oracle Essbase and Oracle OLAP, as well as Oracle University Partners and Gold Partners. So if you want to get into more of these topics, that's exactly what we do for a living. This is in a series of webcasts, and so you'll find on our website, indeed, all of those at the bottom you'll see are listed on our website at vlamis.com/OBIE webinars. And we've been doing this since the 11 release of Oracle BI, going through all the features. Pretty proud of having the opportunity to give live demos in each one of these, and they're all recorded for you to be able to play back what's new in these features. Indeed, I use sometimes our own webinars when I try to look back for a client project of when did they introduce that feature in Oracle BI. It's in our webcasts. So we'll be adding to this as we go along, including DVD, BICS, the entire Oracle BI product line. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat window. You'll find all these presentations on our website at vlamis.com in the list of presentations we organize by year. We have 2 decades almost worth of presentations out there. If you want to put it into the chat window, send it to the organizers or panelists, and we can answer your questions that come up, or there's a questions box that you can click on to ask questions when we get to the Q&A section. If you want to send them ahead, we will do them as we go. Just a little bit of some high-level features, a high-level list of what the new features are. We'll go through Oracle BI and look at some of those new features in this really kind of almost a patch release of Oracle BI 12.2.1.2. Not as much in there, but the big news is then the Data Visualization Desktop, what's known as 2.0. Internally, the version number is 12.2.2. And we'll go through some of those features in really a lot more detail going through these. So including more data sources, data flows, profiling, a lot of stuff we've been looking for, the BI Ask, some new filtering options that really get into a down payment on making DVD, the whole data visualization area, functionally equivalent or surpass that what you see in Oracle BI. We can see a direction that Oracle BI is heading in. Multiple canvases. Yay, we can export and print. You'll see more of that as we go through that and show a live demo of this. There's also some new visualizations, and indeed a SDK to build your own. So let's go ahead and jump into some of these things right off the bat. So first on the deck is the ability in BI 12.2.1.2 to import and export DVA files into OBIEE. And so you have the ability now that allows us really as a way to do this kind of move back and forth seamlessly between a data visualization desktop software which you install on your PC and the ability to then create those presentations there and then export them out to DVA files that you can then import into a production OBIEE instance. So now, and as well, the equivalent to take something from OBIEE, maybe you worked very hard on this visualization that you created in there, then export that out to a DVA file, bring it to another person's desktop, have them then enhance it and bring things back and forth. What this does is start to enable the seamless environment between OBIEE and data visualization desktop. And what I think this heads towards is the ability for people to be content creators that are your analysts creating things in DVD and share it with your Oracle BI community, and the ability to bring back visualizations and indeed entire projects between the two platforms makes it so that you have a pretty seamless environment in that. So that's the big news, by the way. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, Dan, this also really helps to simplify moving the visual analyzer projects between, your dev test and prod environments in OBIEE as well.
Absolutely, you're exactly right. That ability to move things back and forth is a huge win for us in this release. So that's what that looks like. There's not as much to demo on this. It just kind of works as you move stuff back and forth. We want to save the time for the important stuff. The next one I'll be talking about, we'll focus more on Data Visualization Desktop 12.2.2. New features in that. We have a couple slides on that. We'll go through the new features, then demo them, some new features, and then demo them is the plan for this. So some of the things in there are a huge list of additional data sources, and Arthur will show that when I get to the bottom of this slide, some of the new data sources that really opens up DVD, and for that matter coming the stated direction that Oracle has said is these features in DVD will be coming into the base on-prem release of Oracle BI as well as BI Cloud Services of this. It's just, it's easier for them to put these things into the desktop tool and then incorporate the base features into the core product because it's all one code path. Anyway, you'll see these showing up in later releases of the BI software. So some additional data sources that really opens up that entire platform to capitalize on whatever data sources you have. The ability as well to filter on the data sources, and this becomes very important to cut down on the data volume as you look at this. You may bring in huge tables that you just want pieces of, and that'll really streamline the content creation process. The ability to have data flows now allow for some kind of manipulation of the data, and be able to download pieces of data down to your PC and do it in a graphical sense. You'll see an example of that when Arthur shows the demo. Data profiling allows you to get histograms of the data by either row count or some measure, and you'll see some of the of this coming from really similar visualizations from the big data discovery tool. So this ability to get a sense of the data before you actually get into the analysis is kind of exciting to see in this tool. We can also control the types of columns, whether they're measure versus attribute. That's new in this product, in this release as well. And a BI Ask capability, and Arthur will show that. All this we're going to be demoing in just a bit. You can delay applying filters so that if you are waiting for stuff to happen, you don't have to wait as you filter, wait for some refresh. You can do it all at once. You can apply filters to individual visualizations and use a master visualization to control a detail visualization via filter capability. Very powerful capability now in the data visualization component in DV Desktop. And then finally, multiple canvases and a new list visualization that starts to look a lot like dashboard prompts. Those that follow this can see that really they're starting to Oracle's adding a lot of the capabilities that we have in the answers dashboards portion into the DV portion of the product. With that, I'm going to go ahead and ask Arthur to demo these capabilities, and I'm going to just pass control to him and have him show this stuff.
All right, thanks, Dan, and I've got my screen up here for everybody to see. So what we can see here is just the home screen of the newest version of Oracle Data Visualization Desktop. And you can see that Oracle has gone through some enhancements here to clean these screens up and make them quite a bit easier to use. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the data sources screen, and we can see here that I have a whole number of file data sources, and also if I were to click all data sources, you can see I can have a number of databases and other sources as well. So if we take a look at the Create Data Source selector here, we can see that we have the ability to add a connection, and if we blow this out a little bit, we could see all of these new data sources that Dan was talking about that are available to us in this release. So a number of these are still in beta source, but will be fully supported here soon. And then we have a whole list of fully supported data sources that have been added in from previous versions in this version as well. So if I were to create a new connection, for instance, from an Oracle database, this will bring up a little wizard that gives us kind of these familiar connection credentials that we'd be used to for any application that has the ability to connect to an Oracle database. That we could just add our host, port, username, service name stuff in and be able to connect to the database. So I've gone ahead and actually created a data source, but if I wanted to create a new one, I could just click this, and you can see here I've already got this one I've created. I have my credentials in here, and then I can use this as the source of a new, use this connection to create a new data source. So if I click up here, take a look at the connections that I've defined, I can use this new one to create a new data source. If I click on that, it's going to connect to the database using the credentials that I've supplied and give me access to the schemas that the user I've used as a part of my credentials has access to. And then if I were to select one of those schemas, we'd see that it would drill down in and show me all the tables that I have access to underneath this particular schema. So I've gone ahead and already created a data source here. So if we take a look at my database sources, I've created a SAMP revenue demo source off of a table in this database, and I can inspect this, show my show the various columns that are in this data source along with the data types and all of that type of information. Or if I select the edit capability, we can go in here and see how we've actually put this together. So we can see that in my BI sample schema, I have selected this SAMP revenue demo table, and then over here on the right-hand side, we can see a list of the columns that are available to us. And if we want to, after we've selected the objects that we want to use as a part of our data source in this new wizard capability, we can refresh the data and get back a sample of the data that's contained in that particular table. What the wizard does for us, actually, if we take a look up here and click on this Enter SQL, it writes SQL against those objects in the database that we're selecting, and we can see right here that there's a where clause that's been created as a part of this filtering capability, which I'll show you in a second. But we could actually also come in here and edit this SQL if you wanted to and add calculations or other functions into this particular SQL. So if I jump back out here and take a look at the filter in the wizard, you can see that I have filtered my data set on order type, and I've decided that I only want the standard order types as this particular data source that I'm creating. And after I've made those selections, I can move on and give my data source a name, write a description in. I can obviously see the connection it's utilizing, and I also have this capability of choosing kind of how often the data is refreshed, whether I'm always hooked directly to the database or using some type of local cache. So after I've created all that, I'll have a data source that's available to me to use. And at that point, I can just click and go ahead and create a new DVD project utilizing this data source. Or I can use this data source as a part of another great new piece of functionality that they've added in this version to create a data flow where I can manipulate this data source, combine it with other data sources I may have created, and ultimately create a brand new data source. So I've created a data flow already called Ag US State here, and if I open this up, I can open this data flow up here. We'll see that I have my sample revenue demo that I just created from my Oracle database. And then down here, I also have this sample states data source that I've created from a spreadsheet import. And I've actually joined these data sources right here. You can see that I have the ability to define the columns that I'm joining on, and also to control the join type that's occurring here. After creating this join between these two separate data sets, I can select the various columns I'd like to use from this combined data set to move forward with here over on the right-hand side. I can preview the results of my combined data set as I go along as well. And then ultimately, I'm going to define an aggregate based off of these two data sources. So I've decided that I want to roll my sample revenue up by state and country, and then use these various measures over here and apply a sum aggregate to each of them. Finally, once I've created this data flow, I can save the results in a new file-based data source that will be local to my machine here. And then after I've created this, I have this ability to run this data flow at any time. So if I know there's been changes in my database, data source, or my spreadsheet, I can go ahead and click play, rerun this data flow, and it will pull in the latest information from either my spreadsheet changes or changes to my database source. So we can see I've named this Ag by US State. So if I jump back over here and take a look at my data sources, I know this is the file data source. Here we go. Here's this data source that I just created as a combination of my database source data and spreadsheet source data, and I can create a project directly off of this brand new data source that I've curated here on my desktop. So I'm going to go ahead, click Create Project. You can see it'll jump me into a brand new DVD project, and I have those columns that I've created as part of my data flow. I'm going to go ahead and select state and revenue. You can see that it quickly just generates a table visualization here. Because this is geographically based, I can just flip this to a map. And we say very quickly I've created an aggregate data set which I can display on a map visualization showing me revenue, for instance, across the United States.
Arthur, I didn't want to interrupt before, but one of the things that I want to make the point to others is this whole ability to create data flows and filter data and such and grab data from other sources. It's important that everybody know that this is available to end users. Now you can revoke that right, but it gives end users a very powerful capability to include other data sources, indeed even mash them up with curated data that is perhaps blessed by IT and such. But it does start to beg the question of where does the data preparation happen? And those that are familiar with OBIEE, the history of this with the RPD file, the way you say this is the map of how you get the data, now we're really giving the end users a lot of this power, which is pretty cool. But it does beg that question, and that I think you're going to see a little more of that as time goes on, the question of where's the best place and who has control. But it's great to see this in the end user product.
Yeah, and I would say beyond just the ability for individual-based data discovery here, it really gives the end users a very rich environment for prototyping, where you might take some of the things that you've done in those data flows and pass them back to the ETL team and say, look, this is what we need to do, and now please, institutionalize this into our blessed data set.
Yeah, and there's a question of control and a question of also, is that the best way to do it? Because people are going to take shortcuts as opposed to the, quote, right way to do things, and they're not going to think through necessarily what do you do when the data changes, all this type of stuff. It's great to see you can refresh the entire data set, but there's more complicated, let's call it, techniques that IT professionals can do. But it's great for a prototyping area, no question. So sorry, go ahead.
So, yep. More functionality has been added in the prepare area of the application as well. So you can see that they've made it quite a bit easier to jump between your visualizations, the data preparation area, and then the storyboard or insight area for the application. Here you can see I've jumped in and just kind of shown that, here's the data and I can perform a number of operations on it. I'll show you some new functionality in here in a sec. But another great thing that's been added in is this sort of instantaneous data profiling functionality that's been added in. So if I click over here on this waffle icon on the right, you can see that it automatically creates a bunch of visualizations that give us a sense of the shape of our data from the data set that we've created. And we can show this across both row counts for our various attributes over here on the left-hand side, or we can also choose to look at the profile across the various measures that are contained within this data set as well. So this is some really great new functionality, Dan, that I think has kind of been borrowed from
from big data discovery.
Yeah, from the big data discovery application. And it really gives you this ability to get a sense of the shape of your data and think about further prep you may want to do on it, or how you're going to begin to put together your visualizations based on really the values that are present in the data. So if we flip back here to the data prep panel, another great new functionality in here is this ability to determine the data type, or the whether or not to treat it as an attribute or a measure. So for instance, for the order status here, if I were to split this based on the dash that's present there in the data, and then create two separate fields off of it, I could then it automatically sort of determines that these are both text because that's what it's sourced from. But I could come in and say, hey, this order status, this is actually an integer instead of a text value, and for whatever reason, rather than treating this as an attribute, I'd like to treat this as a measure. So it gives you way more control over that type of functionality in the newest version here, and this is definitely a great step forward compared to the previous versions. Really gives you the ability to massage your data and get it into the form you need it for to continue your analysis from here. So now we've kind of looked at a lot of the new data preparation options, the data sources that we can use, and I'm going to jump back to the home screen here and show another new great functionality that's been added in here, and this is the BIF functionality. So here you've seen me kind of jump in and create a visualization doing some point-and-click type operations. But another way we can approach this now is to actually just jump in here and start typing. So if I type the word state We could see it pulls out the state attributes, this brand new aggregate source I created. And if I know I'd like to look at revenue across state, I can just type revenue in. It'll find the revenue attribute inside of that. Because it's a geographical data set, we can see it just automatically infers that I might want to look at a map here. But perhaps if this isn't the type of visualization I wanted, I can just start typing in the type that I do want. I could select a bar chart here, get a different visualization on my data, and then that seemed to not make it happy there. Get our revenue back in here. Sorry about that. So if I put my revenue in, I can select the revenue by state, and then if I wanted to create a different visualization, I could go ahead and do that. So, you know, naturally in a live demo, this thing is kind of being grumpy on me, so I'll just cancel that out, try typing that in one more time, and see if it behaves a little bit better for me here the second time around. So typed in state, type in revenue, select the revenue by states, get a map visualization, and if I wanted to change this to a bar chart, I should be able to easily just flip that to a bar chart. Now I can see I've got a bar chart of my data. Maybe I'm only interested in the stuff within the United States, so if I wanted to filter this, I could just go ahead and click, you know, type United States.
Yeah, that EN bar looks like it's outside the United States.
Yep. So I go ahead and add that value in there as a filter, and you can see we've filtered our visualization right down to exactly kind of what we're looking for here. And using this
Arthur,
interface, all we did is
Let me jump in. It's interesting to point out that in here there's 4 different types of objects in this grammar that we're showcasing here: an attribute, and then a measure, and then notice that in looking at the language you put in here, bar chart is actually a type of object, and then a filter is in here as well, which is a value of a dimension. All of that in that BIASK format. So it starts to beg the question of, you know, what's the natural way to operate with data visualization? It's not just click and drag and click on stuff, but also this becomes especially important on a mobile platform when you don't have necessarily, it's harder to type. You can actually ask these types of questions by speaking it to a device that is enabled for being able to talk to it. And that's some of the demonstrations that are shown often at Oracle, and some of the stuff we're taking advantage of with some clients that were more interested in a mobile platform. That's where Ask becomes very important. So keep going, sorry.
All right, so, you know, that shows us this new BIAS functionality, and now to demonstrate a number of the other new features here, I'm going to go ahead and jump into a sample project, which I downloaded from Oracle's website here. So I'm going to go ahead and open this sample project. And so when this pops up here, one of the very first things we could see that's been added in this version of Data Visualization Desktop is this multiple canvas functionality. So in previous versions, you could create a canvas and then maybe save it as an insight and then create some more canvases that go along that way. But if you ran out of real estate on any given canvas, you were kind of stuck to have to go through creating you know, multiple projects or new insights to be able to manage this. Now we have this capability to create as many canvases as we want, and this really begins to start looking almost like a proper dashboard here. And if we click across a couple of these canvases, we can see that they all share in common this top filter bar here that you know, that will control the values that are displayed in each one of these canvases. So that really shows us or leads us to another nice new piece of functionality that's included in this version. Right now, if I were to come in and to start changing one of these filter values, we can see that the application is going to react instantly to whatever I've selected. Now, for large data sets or complicated data sets, this can be kind of annoying because I may have many filter values that I'd like to apply, and I don't want to kind of beat on the application as I apply each one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and click the undo button here to set this back to all. And for instance, if I want to apply multiple filters all at once, we have this new functionality down here where we can toggle the auto apply of the filters on or off. So if I click this, we can see that it's now kind of gone gray, and if I come up here, I can select multiple filter values, and it will collect these values up as I go, and you can see display to me that I have a number of these values that need to be applied. So after I'm done making my filter selections, I can jump down here, click on this, and it will just run one fetch and one apply of my predicates to my data set here. And, that's a great new piece of functionality that I really like here because, it's a little bit aggravating at times to have that auto apply not have the control. So in this version, they've added that control in, and I think that's a great new feature. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the undo functionality one more time to take those filter values back out and return my visualizations to their original state. I'm going to come back over here and
for others that have used this day to day like we have in projects, you'll find that it's especially important as Oracle expands the list of data sources there. You can't control how fast those data sources are going to fetch as an end user. And this becomes especially important if you're looking at returning a significant amount of data, and now we have finer control over when those queries actually fire, so that you can do a couple different filter conditions and then click apply all at once rather than waiting each time. So it's nice to have that control, especially as the data sources be expanded, and as people looking at using this in the real world with sometimes very large tables. That, along with the filter capability to filter the data source on the other side before you even get into the visual interface, are important considerations when you use this software in the real world.
Yep. So another great new functionality they've added in this version of DVD as well is if you've used it in the past, you may have noticed that you'll have a number of visualizations on a particular page, and you'd like to kind of apply some different filters to them, but you're always kind of limited to the filters that were up here, or creating some sort of filter calculation in order to have visualizations have different filters applied to them. But in this particular version now, they've added this ability to individually filter visualizations. So I can click on a particular visualization, come over here to the left-hand side, grab a field that I'd like to be able to filter that visualization on, drop it in this Filters tab, and then I can individually control the filters applied to just one visualization and not limit all of my other visualizations by that same filter. So the rest of the visualizations on the page will still respect the selections up here, and then I've further filtered perhaps this one visualization to bring attention to some particular attribute that I'm interested in. And then, if I'd like to get rid of that filter again, I can just come right back over here. I can take that filter back off, and then my visualization will return to participating in the page level filters with the rest of them. The other really cool piece of functionality that's been added in is the ability to use certain visualizations as a master detail to the rest of the visualizations on the Canvas page. So we can see this new ability to use as filter has been added on. And if I select this, I can now use my visualization as a driving visualization for the rest of the stuff on the page. So if I go ahead and click this one product category here, that filter will be applied across the rest of my visualizations on the page, and I can have this really fun master detail driven setup here, which is I think another great addition to this this particular version of DVD. And then the last sort of filter capability that I'll show you here in a minute is this idea of a list visualization that allows us to apply filters across all of our visualizations on a particular Canvas page without applying those filters to all of the Canvas pages in a particular project. And I'll give you a look at that here in just a second. Then obviously if I want to turn the master detail off on this, I can just select and not use it as a filter, and then all my visualizations will return to participating in the canvas in the way that we would expect them to. So right here, I'm just going to kind of flip back to our presentation for just a second and show you, you know, we've covered all of these new capabilities with the data flows, a lot of the new filtering, the BI Ask, the visualization level filters, and then the next set of features I want to cover here.
Yeah, I'll go through. Yeah, go ahead. You know, we'll go through the next set of features, including being able to choose a visualization by objective. The idea here being, I want to not just think about, you know, this gives people the ability to think of things by what they're trying to accomplish rather than how they want to show it. And so there's the, Arthur will go through the next series of these. Some new visualizations that are in there, really especially a lot of these focused on a few things that were out of the first release of DVD when it came out, and some things that especially data scientists are looking for, kind of checking off the list of things that you can do with this, as well as the ability to create yourself. There's an SDK for creating your own visualizations, and indeed some examples in the BI Public Store that you can download, and Arthur will show examples of that, including nicely a box plot visualization that's in there. And these are first-class objects the way they're created, and you can expose as an object creator all sorts of capitalize on the grammar of the graphics architecture that Oracle has created there, and allow all of those controls and to fully interact with other visualizations. As well as a control over the color palette. Those that have followed Vlamis know that we're passionate about our what to do with data visualization. An important part of that is effective use of color in dashboards. And so the ability to control that through a palette and have individual control over that is pretty powerful, and we look forward to capitalize on that in the projects that we work with customers on. In order to either highlight specific values or make areas visually distinct, or all sorts of other things that really color is an important part of dashboard and visualization design. And then I'll steal a little bit of Arthur's thunder, the ability to print, export to PDF, and put out to PowerPoint. And you can even select which pages you want to include and have some control over that. So Arthur, why don't you go ahead and, if you don't mind, show through some of these examples.
Yep. So here, if we take a look at our visualization panel here, we can see this typical view that we're used to seeing here, where we have all of our visualizations grouped up by type. But now, as Dan was mentioning, we can also group these by objective, and it will group our visualizations into what we're trying to do. So if we expand these out, we can see that they've put the various visualizations in sort of their best practice category for data visualization and data discovery. So this is really just the further evolution of the application to help guide you through the you know, visualization and discovery process. The other great thing that Dan mentioned was a number of new visualizations that are present inside of this version. So if we switch back to our By type here, we can see that there's a new timeline, tree diagram, core diagram, circular network, Sankey network, and then last I'll show a custom visualization that I downloaded from the BI Public Store here. So just clicking over here, we can take a look at some of these new visualizations that are present. Here I'm showing the core diagram and the network diagram. So these are visualizations that really give us this ability to show the flow through across multiple attribute types for different measures. These obviously have interactivity with each other, so we can use them as a means of really discovering the discovering the connections between particular attributes and understanding the flow of measures across those. If we take a look at our network diagram here, this shows us the same sort of functionality, gives us this ability to connect our, in this case, product categories across continents and regions, and we can click through here and explore those connections. The next new visualizations that have been added are the Sankey and tree visualizations. Again, these are great for helping us see the relationships and flow across multiple attributes, and we can see that these are pretty common things that we've always sort of associated with things like D3 and other pretty specialized visualization things, and now these are being added into standard visualization types inside of the application. And then we have this tree diagram, which is another way for us to sort of understand the hierarchical relationships between multiple attributes across our data sets. Another very cool new visualization that's been included in this version is the timeline, and this allows us to see really individual transactions across some span of time. In this particular case here, we're looking at the customers who have placed orders over a day-by-day period in this particular case, and this really gives us this great ability to understand the kind of flow across time for transactions, and then obviously, this has the ability to zoom in and out across time periods. So here we can see we're zoomed pretty far in, but I can also zoom right into a particular day if I want to, or out to different time periods. So the last couple of visualizations I wanted to show here is we can see over on the left-hand side that I have this BoxPlotViz plugin. This is a custom visualization that's not included as a part of the application. I downloaded and imported this visualization from the BI Public Store, which has a number of examples of these type of things. And you can see here we've created a box plot visualization for our product subcategories, and we have a detail under the hood here of the customer's name, looking at sales, and we can see that these visualizations sort of enjoy this first-class status inside of the application, interacting exactly the same way as the other visualizations do. And this is definable inside of the SDK, and then they have interactivity. For instance, we can drill down here and see out all the points of data that are composing this particular data set here that we're visualizing, and then it obviously has the hover over capability, as well as this ability to participate with filters and other visualizations. So here I'm showing the new list capability, and I can make selections up here on the list and change the filters that are being applied to this custom visualization. But it just sort of auto-magically has this ability to participate inside of the application, which is quite a step forward from, some of maybe the earlier ways that we did some of this stuff in OBI, where it really kind of felt like we were, jamming something in. Here we can really allow these custom visualizations to seamlessly participate inside of the application. So it gives us that ability to really apply about any kind of D3 visualization we could imagine inside of our application, and then use it in concert with the rest of the stuff that's available.
Did you, Arthur, I missed because I was answering a question. Did you explode one of those box plot bars?
Yeah, I did. I did
Okay,
blow one
good.
of those up,
Yep.
and
Okay, great.
I did blow it up right there. Yep.
Yeah, I wanted to also mention you can see where the outliers are. It's very cool to be able to see this type of stuff with large amounts of data. Becomes very important.
Yep. So one of to get the last couple great new pieces of functionality that are available in the this version of Data Visualization Desktop, one of the great things they've added is this ability to gain some control over the color palette. So you can see at the project level now, we can come in and we can utilize a number of predefined color palettes and have those applied. We can also, define our own palettes or take existing ones and alter them so that we can really get some detailed control over the color palette at the project level. And then we also have the capacity to control the color palette down at the visualization level as well. So if we take a look here, I can click on this visualization. I can come over to our color control and then manage either the color palette that's being applied to this particular visualization, or I can take our individual data points, jump in here and either select across a predefined palette, or really just drag across the whole color spectrum and define my my own colors to be applied to particular data points. So this is something that from Vlamis's perspective we've also been looking forward to, so that we could really gain this control to kind of maximize the effectiveness of our visualizations inside of the application. So last and certainly not least, the thing that I was super excited to see included in this version is finally our ability to print natively from the application. So now we can choose to print either the particular Canvas page or story page that we're interested in, or all or some subset of them, and push them out to the paper size and orientation of our choice. So this is one of the things that lots of people have been clamoring for a long time, and we're super excited to see included now. And then what's also very exciting is this ability to export to PDF. So we can create a PDF booklet of our visualizations if we like, push this out through email. If I were to click export, it would pull Outlook up and push this directly into an email for me. And then from a presentation standpoint, if we want to include these in, say, a larger presentation, larger PowerPoint, we can export our visualizations and Canvas pages out directly into a PowerPoint presentation, and then also have that ability to email as well. And as a part of our slides that we'll make available to everybody, we'll show an example of an exported PowerPoint presentation off of this particular project here. So with that, that's really a whirlwind tour through a lot of the new functionality that's available in this version. And Dan, I'll go ahead and pass it back to you at this point.
Okay, super. Thank you, Arthur. Let me go ahead and I will go into the PowerPoint deck. I'll just quickly plug, hey, if you have questions on this, put them in the, there's a questions box that you can expand and ask questions, and we're joined by Oracle Product Management to try and answer some of those questions as we go along, and we'll try and cover some of these audibly as we can. Or you can put it in chat if you wanted to do that as well if you can't find questions. So just a quick plug here for if you're interested in this type of topic, we have a conference. I happen to be co-director of a conference taking place at Oracle headquarters called BEWA Summit. Business Intelligence Warehousing and Analytics 2017 takes place at the end of January, beginning of February. There's an early bird discount that we extended that you can take advantage of right now if you go to bewasummit.org, and we will have hands-on labs where you can actually try this stuff out, have professionals there to help you out through all of this, plus the analytics portion in the database, all sorts of great stuff, and we have all sorts of talks already on the website at bewasummit.org. Register for that. Takes place at the end of January, but you want to capitalize on the early bird discount. With that, we have a kind of a resources and questions page up here with some URLs that'll help you as you go through this. But I do want to capitalize on having Philippe Lyons and Alan Lee join us so that we can answer some of these questions as we go along. There have been some that have come through as the presentation has taken place, and we really wanted to go through a lot of those features. I'll also tell you the PowerPoint deck that you can get from Vlamis.com in the presentations area has, as part of the PowerPoint deck, we include screenshots of the new features in that so that you don't have to watch the entire video of this, as well as the exported, hey, as long as DVD can export to PowerPoint, why not take all the stuff that we showed and export it and put it in that same PowerPoint deck, and you can download that so you can share with your colleagues that. So here are the resources. There's a bunch of things on here that I'll just highlight. You can take a test drive of the BI Cloud Services, kind of a sister product to this DVD release that came out at vlamis.com/TD. You can try it out. We enable you access to all of this free. We also have presentations on prior OBIEE releases out there at vlamis.com, the papers area, and then there's a BI public store. That's where Arthur grabbed that box plot plugin, by the way. Is it you can see the URL there, sites google.com/site/Oracle BI public store/downloads. You can get at the BI public store. Also, I'll tell you, we use SampleApp extensively in Vlamis to investigate all of the new capabilities. And there's a fantastic virtual machine available if you just Google BI, Oracle BI SampleApp, it'll come right up. And that has a bunch of samples. It's a VM that you run. It does take some significant horsepower on a laptop or something like that to run, but it's a fantastic resource for learning how to do very nice things within the BI platform. They also have some great demos on YouTube, and it's the BI Tech Demo channel. We subscribe to that, and that's how we learn about a lot of this stuff. There's also some documentation on this, and we have various presentations on our website, including a full BIX demo, and then again the BEWA conference. Now I'm going to run through some of these questions that have piped in, but go ahead and ask others, and we'll see if we can answer this as we move up to top of the hour. So one of the questions that came up is, hey, with the BI Public Store, what's the path forward with that? And you can find that at this site on the BI Public Store. If I try and, let me just copy this into a window where I can see this and show you what this looks like. So let me go ahead and show you. This is what the public store looks like in here. You can see there's a bunch of things in the BI Public Store, including, here is, by the way, that boxplot plugin that we download. There's instructions on exactly how to do that, and we have a blog article on how to include that, and I included in the forum for data visualization in the OTN network area. So you can see, and more of these will be coming in as people share them with others. Another question And you know, from what I understand, that can be even contributed by people outside of Oracle. If you're interested in doing that, you can contact Philippe Lyons at Oracle to say, hey, you might want to include this. That's a direction I know that you know, they're heading, is how to do this type of stuff. Let's see, any others? And Philippe and Alan, I'll let you cherry pick if your lines are active. Anything that you think from here, I know you've been answering them for people as they've come up. Any ones you want to cherry pick out and give you first crack at, hey, I'd like to share this with the broader audience? All right, I will.
Thanks,
go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just thanking you, and I hope that the answers we've given on the chat have been visible for the audience here, but we don't have anything to add. If people can see the questions we're asking, I guess. Thanks.
Yep, sure thing. And let's see, one of the questions was, how do you get the checkboxes to show up to allow users to pick which subcategories to see? And one of the things that Arthur showed, if you want to go back and replay it, because there was a lot of stuff to take in, but there's a new type of object called a list view. Do I have that right, Arthur?
Yeah.
A list filter view. And that's what he just wired that up to do it. Anything you want to add to that, Arthur?
No, I mean, you'll find it right there either in the visualizations, or it's also under a new filter control that's over on the left-hand side, but you really just you know, drag it in like you would anything else, and then you can drag fields onto it, and then it just you know, automatically presents them in a checkbox fashion and allows you to you know, use it to filter the stuff that's there on the page.
Now, there was a longer question and answer that I'm going to paraphrase, and I may have it wrong, but I think it's an important topic, and that is OBIEE and DVD limited to star schema sources? And the answer is no. You can certainly use it with any series of tables. It does get into a little bit of what's the best way to do this with the data flows to join things together, and the ability to denormalize some of this. It really starts getting into the way you design these, really in the old terms of OBI, the subject areas of this. It does think in terms of attributes of the data that loosely are organized as kind of dimensions of this in the VI product. But there is the ability to handle non-star schema data sources. Important to point out. All right, I'm going to try and cherry pick other couple questions in here.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe one quick addition. I mean, this release, this product is releasing pretty frequently. Watch for the new one that is going to come up, and it'll have more sources. And we're looking at, for instance, S-base data sources. Also, one more thing that I just want to add: the customizations that you have seen also apply to the R scripts behind the scenes. So you can consume pretty much any R scripts from within the DVD desktop, whether it's R or ORE, sorry.
Yeah, that's an important point. We didn't show it because it's not as new, but the ability to integrate with R has been in there in DVD, but we're really excited by that, including being able to push things back to Oracle R Enterprise, a feature of the Enterprise edition of the Oracle database, or of the cloud service when you get database as a cloud service. So that's great. Let's see, for real-time reporting, here's one question: will the DVD reports auto-refresh as the underlying data changes? There is a live query mode that's supported. I don't think it does as the data changes, you'd have to set up a query polling to do it literally in front of your eyes. And I don't think we have that capability unless anybody on the line knows of that. You end up refreshing the screen, but you can either use the cache or not use the cache. But you'd have to trigger to fire the query every 1 second. It starts to get at the question of what is real time, changing in front of your eyes. How often do you want to do that type of thing? Let's see, and another one was, can we publish DVD reports to OBIEE 12212? The answer, yes. You export them from DVD to OBIEE and the on-prem release, for instance, of Oracle BI on-premise. You can export, and that's what that DVA file is, and that's the mechanism you use for moving things from DVD project to Oracle BI. And trying to look for especially questions that have come on as far as the panel that I see, they've all been answered. I don't have time to go through all these. We will try to make some of this available on our blog at vlamis.com/blog. And with that, since we're at the top of the hour and I don't want to hold everybody on this, we are going to present this again next week. ODTUG, Oracle Developer Tools User Group, is hosting the webcast, and we'll be going through the same content using their platform. And you'll find information on vlamis.com in the presentations area on that. We'll also make a recording of this available on our website, so that a link to that, so you others can view this. With that, I especially want to thank Philippe Lyons and Alan Lee as organizers, helping us to answer some of these questions that come up. And Arthur, thanks for running through a demonstration of this. And I'm going to go ahead and, unless anybody has any further thoughts, I'm going to conclude the webcast. Well, thank you, everybody, and we look forward to presenting more on future releases of the Oracle BI platform. Bye.
Thank you, Dan.